Sri Gurubhyo Namaha, children. In our previous chapters, we discussed about the meaning and the scope of economics, right? So now we are going to discuss about the importance of statistics in economics. So first, to make empirical and quantitative analysis, we require data and the scientific methods to collect and organize and present the required data. So in our previous classes itself, I told you empirical means through direct observation, and quantitative we will be collecting the data for drawing conclusions and making decisions. So the data that we are collecting, we have to collect it and we have to organize the data and we have to present the required data. Now we are going to discuss the requirements of statistics in various aspects. So in that we will be discussing about various topics, that is a systematic presentation of facts and needed for forecasting future trends, and statistics it is needed for making comparisons, and it is very useful in formulating various policies, and it is very essential in construction of an economic theory, and it is play a very vital role in planning. These are all the various requirements for statistics. In that first one is needed for a systematic presentation of facts. So for example, if we collect the data simply, it is not going to be useful. Simply collection of data, it is not sufficient for purposes like drawing conclusions or making decisions. Clear? So data must be organized into groups and tables, then only we can utilize it. For example, if we collect data about 1,000 school going children, so we have to collect various data related to their age, gender, income of the parents, occupation of the parents, etc. But this data, it is not going to help us unless we organize the collected data into groups. So, what is the age of the children between 6 years and 14 years? So, like that, we have to categorize, divide the children into various groups based on their ages, and then we have to enter it in a tabular column. So only then we can add some meaning to the data. So statistics, if you take it as a subject, it has evolved a certain scientific methods for organizing data. So without organizing the data into groups and groups or tables, we cannot take decisions, and we cannot it may lead to sometimes wrong conclusions also. Our next subtopic is needed for forecasting future trends. So, we are all very much interested in forecasting, isn't it? So, for example, we used to predict something, we will be imagining. So, for example, during rainy holidays, as students, you will be very much eager. You will be, for example, if any teacher planned any test, you may predict, so it may rain tomorrow. Definitely, I'll get one more a day for preparing for the examinations, like that, isn't it? So, as human beings, we are all very much interested in forecasting, and we will be predicting about various things, isn't it? So, in the same way, government also has a special interest in forecasting. So, what is likely to be the price of a certain product by the next year, and sometimes what is going to be our population rate in the next 10 years. So, government is interested, very much interested to know the facts about that, isn't it? So, it is government's duty to make arrangements and to provide certain basic facilities like drinking water or drainage facilities, and it has to give education facilities to the people, and it has to take care of the health. It has to provide health improvements. It has to implement various programs which improves the health of the people, isn't it? So medical care, health, providing water, drinking water to the people, these are all the very essential duties of the government. So to perform these duties and to perform and plan and to implement various processes, the government should get an idea. It should have an idea, and it should collect the data related to the past years. Then only it can estimate the plans for the future years. So in the same way, people also, they will gain some forecast. So if you're a businessman, definitely you will plan. So this much amount I am going to invest for the next years. So to increase my production. So then only I can increase my profit percentage, isn't it? So in the same way, if you take consumers, we will plan. We will have some plans. I'm going to buy this next year. So I'm going to allot a certain amount. I'm to buy a thing, buy a product, isn't it? So we also predict. So consumers can plan their budget through this forecasting. Our next topic is needed for making comparisons. So comparison, it is a natural behavior, isn't it? As human beings, we also compare. Sometimes when we compare only, we will grow, isn't it? We will compare um, ourselves with our neighbors, or we will compare ourselves with our friends or relatives for a constructive purpose, isn't it? So, in the same way, you would have heard about the word Niti Ayog. So, Niti Ayog means National Institution for Transforming India. It is nothing but it is another name for Planning Commission. So, through government used to have 5-year plans. So they will allocate and they will allot various programs to improve the various sectors of the economy, like agricultural sector or industrial sector. So through 5-year plans, government try to improvise, develop the country. So how this planning commission and all plan, and how they will plan according to that. So the overall success rate only measures whether the government becomes successful in implementing the plans and all. So it is measured by the rate of growth. Rate of growth is nothing but rate of rise in production. For example, if we are producing a certain good, and if we are yielding a high percentage of profit, then automatically the growth rate will be increased. So by comparing growth rates, we can know the rate of success. So we can know how much percentage we have increased our production, and what is the growth of our rate in of our country. So if we compare the data we collected, or the plans, the rate of growth of the previous years only, we can become successful. So it is very very important and useful for making um, comparisons. So comparisons, it helps the government to future plans. Then only it can plan its future programs accordingly. And similarly, share prices, general price level, poverty, unemployment. So for all these things, comparison is very essential. So government has to find out what is the rate of percentage, how many people have got employment this year. So all these things he can predict, government can predict, and it can forecast for its future purposes. So such comparisons are very useful for learning lessons about future. Next, useful for formulation of policies. So, government, if you take government, it keeps on changing its policies, and some changes will be done continuously by the government. So, government, it makes changes in policies from time to time. So, according to the need of the people, policies will differ. Okay. So statistics is very helpful in making changes or for formulating new policies. So for that purposes, government should possess sufficient amount of data. So suppose governments wants to make education free for poor children. So for this, government should collect a lot of data, and it should have total idea, clear idea about the children, those who fall under this category. So it has to make provisions, and it has to allot some amount in the budget, and it has to make overall arrangements. So then only it can improvise the rate of percentage of students those who are going to benefit it. So in the same way, if we take a businessman or industrialists or exporters or importers, so definitely all will be the utilizing statistics in formulation of various policies. And moreover, statistics, it is of great help to the government in administrating the country effectively. So it improves a decision making process also. Our next topic is needed for construction of an economic theory. So an economic theory, it generalizes the behavior of various economic variables. And an economic theory can also be constructed on the basis of logical reasoning. So for example, if you take law of demand in economics, the law is nothing but if prices increases, demand decreases, and vice versa. If prices decreases, demand increases, isn't it? So for this purpose, we have to collect the data about the price of the product and also the quantity demanded. So, for formulating before formulating theory, it is very important for the economists to collect these data. So, in the same way, if we want to know about the inflation, or if we want to know about the unemployment rate, for all these purposes, data collection and statistics is very important. And an economic theory, it also can also be constructed on the basis of logical reasoning. For example, if I am describing you a certain thing, so I have to prove that it is true. So without a certain facts, we will not accept anything, isn't it? So statistics play a very important role in formulation and construction of various economic theories. The next our topic is needed for planning. So statistics is very much needed for planning purposes. And Niti Aayog, already I told you, it is nothing but a national institution for transforming India, and it is formally called the Planning Commission. This Niti Aayog, it cannot take even a step forward without statistics. So it must know the position of each sector of the economy in statistical terms before attempting to make allocation of funds among these sectors. So if you take an economy, there are various sectors like agricultural sector, industrial sector. So government should give importance to all the sectors. So without statistics, the government cannot plan even a step forward without collecting the data related to that particular sectors. So government want to know whether which sector is needed to develop, whether agricultural sector is should be developed, or industrial sector should be developed, or sector should be developed. So each sector of the economy in statistical terms before attempting before government has to allocate funds to develop that particular sector, isn't it? So it should have a clear knowledge about the various sectors. Similarly, if we take businessman, he too requires sufficient amount of data to plan for the future operations. So statistics is very helpful and useful, and it plays a very vital role in planning for a government as well as for the individuals, for businessmen, etc. Next, we are going to discuss about the limitations of statistics. So, what are the different limitations of statistics? Statistics do not deal with the qualitative aspects. So, statistics it will not satisfied with the qualitative aspects, and it will not deal with the individuals, and average of a group may not hold for each individual of that group, and the statistical results are mere approximations, and sometimes statistics may be misused also. So now we are going to discuss about the limitations of statistics in various aspects. So in that first one, statistics do not deal with qualitative aspects. So first, statistics, it deals only with the aspects which is expressed in numerical terms. So it is because only the numerical values can be analyzed and interpreted. Because if the data collected is not in a numerical, analyzing and interpreting will become very difficult, and we could not analyze and interpret. For example, if you take qualitative aspects like numerical values can only be analyzed and interpreted. For example, if you take qualitative aspects like happiness or sorrow, and what is the utilization of a certain product, how you are utilizing, it cannot be expressed in numerical terms. I can't say that I am happy for 20 percentage. So I am uh, sad for 40 percentage, I am sorrow. So we cannot express our quality with the numerical terms, isn't it? So qualitative aspects cannot be organized into tables, charts, diagrams. It couldn't be expressed, isn't it? So no statistical method can be applied on these. So statistics do not deal with qualitative aspects because qualitative aspects cannot be expressed in numerical terms. So without numerical terms, we cannot analyze or we cannot interpret. We cannot make any changes. Next one is statistics do not deal with individuals. So statistics deals only with groups, not individuals. The collective behavior pattern of a group need not mean that every individual in the group has the same behavior pattern. For example, if you take if a person may be very fond of ice creams, so if you are going to buy ice cream for a group of persons, we cannot say that all the people are happy, or all the people those who belong to that group like ice creams, isn't it? So different people have different behavior pattern. So statistics deal with groups of consumers and producers, a country, a village, and so on. So if you are going to collect data regarding any topic, you will be conducting surveys in a village, or you will be conducting surveys with consumers or producers, whether the consumer is satisfied with the product he bought, isn't it? So you will be dealing with groups. So with by talking to an individual, you cannot conclude that product is 100% good, or whether the quality is good. So you have to deal with groups, not with individuals. Next topic is statistical average of a group may not hold for each individual of that group. So this is our next topic, and here you can see average of a group. It may not hold for each individual of that group. For example, average age of group of persons within age, that is 1, 3, 6, and 18. So if we take average of these numbers 1, 3, 6, and 8, the average is 7 years. So it does not mean that each person's age is 7 years. So take another example. If per capita income of India during the year 2009 and 10 was about rupees 44,000 per year. So if we calculate it for a month, it may be 3,600 per month. So it cannot be taken to mean that each and every person belong to that particular country is earning 3,600 per month, isn't it? So there are people those who are earning more than that, and there are people those who are earning below that, isn't it? So we cannot come to a conclusion by taking average of that group. And next one, most statistical results are mere approximation. So here, most of the statistical inquiry are based on some small sample taken from a group, and the sample may not truly represent a group. Already I told you, given you an example about ice cream, isn't it? So we cannot conclude with the sample that we have. A sample is a sample, and can at the most approximation of the behavior of a group. Just so we can imagine, we can predict that they may like this product like that, isn't it? So the sample, it will not truly represent that the product is liked by the people those who are in that group. Next one, in some cases, statistics can be misused. Sometimes statistics can be misused in many ways. So the investigator, he may first decide what he wants to prove, and then he will make the changes, the data he had collected. So for example, the person may be advised to collect the average marks of the students. So as he wants to get the results, as he wants to get the result he planned, he may change the marks, isn't it? The data, he would have collected data about the marks scored by the students, isn't it? So he may make changes in that mark, and he can get the results that he expected or he planned. So there are many alternative methods to drive a result, isn't it? So the investigator may choose the method which is helpful in proving the result which he has already decided. So statistics can be misused in this category. So children, we have discussed about the various limitations of the statistics. We have discussed about the scope of statistics, meaning of statistics, importance of statistics, and limitations of statistics. Okay, statistics is very essential for an individual as well as for the government. Thank you, children.